The trial of the men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery is in recess until Monday, but tonight there is a new legal battle that's brewing. We told you last night that the defense team representing Gregory McMichael, McMichael and William Bryan wants people supporting the Arbery family, those who've been gathering outside the courthouse, moved. Those groups, some who came from across the country, say they're not going anywhere. BNC's Drake Clark spoke with two of their leaders about what could happen next.
The court is in recess until Monday morning, but yesterday before court ended, defense attorneys raised an issue that remains unresolved. Every day there's a group called the Transformative Justice Coalition that assembles here on the lawn outside the courthouse. Well, yesterday defense attorneys told the judge that group should be banned from courthouse grounds. Today we spoke with leaders of that group, and they say they won't be leaving without a fight.
No justice, no peace.
All this week,
No justice, no peace.
and until the trial is over.
Save me!
Members of the Transformative Justice Coalition will be making their presence known. They boarded buses from all across the country and headed to coastal Georgia. They're here to support Ahmaud Arbery's family and demand justice for his killing.
We did not want the Arbery family to be isolated. We did not want the Arbery family to be intimidated. We did not want the Arbery family to feel like this is their battle alone. 3
white men, Greg and Travis McMichael, and William Bryan, are on trial, accused of murdering 25-year-old Ahmaud Arbery in February of 2020 as he was jogging through a predominantly white neighborhood. The McMichaels claim they thought Arbery was a burglary suspect, and while trying to make a citizen's arrest, they shot and killed him in self-defense.
We will also be here for this trial until there's a verdict. They're saying 6 weeks. All right, we'll be here 6 weeks.
But Thursday in court, defense attorneys told the presiding judge coalition members should not be allowed to assemble outside the courthouse, claiming the group's signs, banners, and daily rallies are negatively influencing potential jurors as they walk into the courthouse.
The jurors come in through a back door. They don't come to the front of the courthouse at all. So they have no vision, they have nothing, no sight of what is going on the front of the courthouse.
To illustrate what they called acts of intentional influence by the coalition, defense attorneys referred to a large banner with a picture of late Congressman and civil rights hero John Lewis advocating for voter rights. They also said a young girl who had been riding her tricycle in front of the courthouse with the sign on her back that read, "Justice for Ahmaud," was problematic. The problem is that little girl is actually a little boy with long hair.
Making reference to a child was horrible, just reprehensible for them to do that.
Coalition members believe the lack of support for the McMichaels and Bryan is why the defense is trying to get them banned. The judge told the defense to file their motion saying, quote, "Walk me through the First Amendment rights you seek to infringe upon and how you intend to do this." Meanwhile,
Show me what community looks like!
court is in recess, but members of the coalition walk through the streets, staying on course in their journey to get justice for Ahmaud Arbery.
If they are mad at us for being here now, they better get ready, because we're going to be here for at least another 6 weeks.
Court resumes early Monday morning at 8:30, and coalition members say they will be here bright and early, rain or shine. In Brunswick, Georgia, I'm Drake Clark for Making the Case.
Joining us to talk about all of the big headlines from this first week of jury selection and a look ahead of next week is BNC legal contributor and veteran prosecutor Paul Henderson. Good to see you tonight, Paul, on this Friday night. We have so much to catch up on since you joined us last. The big headline is what we just heard there from Dre in his report. In a nutshell, yesterday, the defense asked the judge presiding over this trial to ban Arbery supporters with signs and banners from rallying outside the courthouse, which is public space. Now, the judge had a quick response telling the defense to draft a motion, quote, "walking me through the First Amendment rights you seek to infringe upon and how you intend to do this." Paul, I can only imagine what you thought when you heard this.
Well, Laverne, I'm glad you had me muted because I was yelling at the television and screaming at the arguments when I heard them. I mean, stuff like this makes me very frustrated, but it also really makes me want to talk, to communicate, to address those things. And so I applaud the judge for pointing out the key legal issues and the arguments that they were making to try and persuade the judge that directly infringe on First Amendment rights. And the rights that the judge was referencing that they would have to attack from the defense would be the freedom of assembly, the freedom of speech. That's what's going on here with these gatherings. And I don't know how they're going to get around, despite the arguments that they're making and saying that they are acts of intentional interference. You must say what those acts are beyond just saying that it's obvious because they have a sign that says Black Lives Matter. And don't Black Lives Matter? How is that an intentional assault on the outcome from this case, other than Black Lives do matter, and that will influence the outcome of this case because Black Lives do matter? So this is a real sticky problem that they've gotten themselves into from the defense. I don't think that it's going to get very much play, but from a legal analysis, they haven't raised any issues that would show either that the groups that are meeting are intentionally interfering with the court's business, or that because they are there, that the witnesses or the jury or anyone else could not be fair and impartial when they hear and listen to the evidence.
Yeah, it's so incredible seeing all those people out there. Now, the Transformative Justice Coalition, they're one of the groups outside the courthouse. And last night, Paul, Attorney C.K. Hoffler, she actually broke the news right here. She's assembling a team to help that group if a legal fight plays out. So, Paul, do you expect a real battle over this or any impact on the trial down the line?
I don't, and let me tell you why I don't. Like, this case has been going on since February of 2020, and we have had rallies, we've had protests, we've had town halls, we've had marches, all of the same behavior that we've seen in this town, and for just cause. This is a town that is predominantly Black, in which men pursued and chased and killed a Black man based on false assumptions that was doing nothing, that was innocent. And so certainly you're going to have a community reaction to that. And I think that that's to be expected. The real issue is, what is our justice system going to do in response to that? And regardless of what that verdict is and what that process is, the fact is that we do have the right to assemble. We do have the right to speak out, and we do have the right to respond when things like this happen. And that's exactly what's happening. And so I would be very surprised if we see state, federal, or local action that diminished or tried to disseminate or change people's rights to come together and talk about why this exactly was a travesty. The trial, the criminal trial, is just proof of that.
And some common threads throughout this week's questioning. One, just how closely connected this community is. We've been talking about that, exactly how, these people, they seem to know each other. It's a small town. Prospective jurors, they're revealing that they know one or even more than one of the defendants, and then other key players involved in this case. A question people who may not have followed this from the beginning are probably wondering, Paul, why didn't they just move this trial out of this small town?
Well, I mean, it took place there, and there are standards in which have to be met in order to move a trial out of the jurisdiction in which the incident took place, right? There are long-arm statutes that allow that to happen, but someone has to make that argument, and they have to show that they cannot get a fair trial. I don't know that that's the case, just because, I mean, let's not forget, they did what they are accused of doing. So those are just facts. This is what happened. The issue is whether or not someone can fairly interpret what the evidence is and come to a conclusion about the criminal charges that are being alleged. And that doesn't necessarily change if you move the jurisdiction. You would have to show, and the argument would need to be made from the defense, that this community, there's no way that this community could be fair or impartial in evaluating the evidence. And I think that's a hard argument to be made in this jurisdiction or any others, and that's probably why the judicial officers here are keeping the case right here where the incident took place.
Okay. All right. So another thread, the discussion around that horrifying video at the center of this case. We're not going to keep replaying that video over and over. We all saw it. It's terrible. Many prospective jurors said news coverage of Arbery's killing was unavoidable. But many also said they either don't remember seeing that video, or if they did, they didn't watch the whole thing. Like I said, it was horrifying video. Who wants to remember that or think about that? So does that surprise you?
It doesn't. I mean, when you see horrific things like this, you don't need to watch all of them or remember every single detail to know what happened and how you felt. And I could liken it back to the George Floyd case where we all saw that video. How many times did you really need to see it? Did you really need to watch play by play the entirety of those minutes as they murdered that man? And that's exactly what happened here. Here, the video was not as long, but a lot of people saw that video and didn't study it, didn't watch it 10 times, and didn't need to. They know what the video showed. They know what they saw. They knew how they felt. To me, the real issue is, after having viewed that video, what is the response given the statements by these defendants that, hey, they were suspicious of this person specifically and wanted to stop him, that they thought that they were doing a citizen's arrest properly, and that they thought that this person was involved in previous incidents as well. All three of those assertions were wrong, and given the context of the video, these are all facts that lead into before we have said word one in this trial. And that's just what it is. The fact that people now are saying that they don't really remember the video may be true, but I think that's the reason. People aren't studying it to have a real feeling or sentiment about what they knew that the tape showed them if they actually had seen it in an earlier time.
Yeah, like I said, Paul, we are not playing that video over and over and over again. It's just horrific. I think in the beginning we saw it a lot, and then people started to realize, like you said, you don't need to keep seeing that over and over again. But anyhow, thank you so much for joining us on this Friday night. Veteran prosecutor and BNC legal contributor Paul Henderson. We're going to check back with you later on in the show. And remember to tune in every weeknight for special trial coverage. We'll have a full breakdown of court each weeknight here on Making the Case and BNC.